Buongiorno, my friends! Welcome to my first ever review of an Assassin's Creed game. The Switch has been fortunate to get quite a few of these games in recent years. I figured the best way to review these games would be in order, and I gotta say I'm happy to start with one set in the land of my ancestors. Or at least half of my ancestors. This is Assassin's Creed 2 for the Nintendo Switch. The Assassin's Creed universe is about a century-long war between the freedom-loving assassins and the corrupt, shady, authoritarian Templars. You're thrown into this conflict as Desmond Miles, a regular guy who was later told that he has a direct connection to several ancestral members of the Creed, a connection that allows him to use the Animus to send his mind back in time to the body of an ancestor in that time. It's a way to get information about the Assassin Order and the Templars, as well as a way for Desmond to learn the skills of an assassin and use them in the real world. To be honest though, the modern part of the story really didn't interest me. What did hold my interest was the story that Desmond's mind is sent to. You play as young Ezio Auditore, who is just learning about the Creed and the Templars for the first time, but he willingly learns all that he can in order to save his family and different cities across Italy from the Templars. Without getting into spoilers, AC2 does a great job of telling this grand story through the eyes of its central character. Ezio has a fantastic arc in the story as you see him go from an arrogant, irresponsible street punk to a strong and intelligent member of the Assassin Order and genuine hero of the people. Assassin's Creed 2 originally launched on the PS3 and 360 in 2009. Naturally, I expected this 2022 Switch version to have improved graphics, and while it at least looks as good as the 2009 original, it's not quite as polished as I was expecting. Now, maybe that's my fault for setting those expectations when Ubisoft never advertised the Ezio collection as a remaster, but with the character models in particular, I noticed quite a bit of awkward animations and muddy textures on clothes and hair. Not down to pre-high def levels of course, but in the same way as a lot of high def games looked over a decade ago. Outside of that, the Switch version does run the game at a smooth frame rate with decent draw distance. It also manages to perfectly preserve the open world environments of the towns and wide open farmlands as they were always meant to be. Towns filled with large and small buildings and populated by a realistic amount of NPCs all running smoothly help the world of AC2 feel very much alive. AC2 is set in Italy during the Renaissance, and the art, architecture, and even the clothes of the characters all feel authentic to the place and time. This attention to historic detail is a big part of the appeal to Assassin's Creed games as open world games. Even more impressive is the sound design. The score contains the perfect mix of sci-fi tunes, dramatic music, and atmospheric Italian Renaissance music. We've also got surprisingly realistic sound effects and a well-rounded cast of voice actors. Ezio is a great character to follow, and his journey is made better by the supporting cast, including the Leonardo da Vinci, who decodes codex pages for you. It shows that Ubisoft put real effort into the game's character. But you know, it feels almost criminal that it took 12 years for a Nintendo system to get such a charming game with this scene.
Do I know you from somewhere? Don't you recognize me? It's me, Mario!
And by the way, he's not some minor character in this game either. You'll actually be seeing a lot of Ezio's uncle throughout the adventure. As an assassin, a large part of the game is stealth tactics. You're given a large variety of ways to sneak up on targets or just run up on them and jump them to stab them in the head. Unfortunately, the game lacks a way to crouch manually, which is something found in most normal stealth games. Somehow no such button to crouch would be added into any Assassin's Creed games until Unity came out in 2014. Who knows why? But let's get a closer look at all of your tactics for assassinating Templars, starting with Ezio's weapons. Along with the main sword used for combat, Ezio also has two hidden wrist blades used for instant kills, along with throwing knives that are particularly good for taking down archers. If you want to go non-lethal with someone though, you can also switch to using your fists, which sometimes you'll have to do in order to disarm tougher opponents. Ezio also has tools for distraction like smoke bombs and a bag of money to throw on the floor, which actually triggers nearby citizens to mob the space looking for the coins, thus cutting off a group of guards walking towards you. And this is just one way that the open world is such a huge part of the game. Unlike most open worlds though, at least the ones in games up to and around this time, the open world is not one large city. It's multiple fairly big cities that are interconnected by roads and ship lines. You'll be exploring the town of Florence, the farmlands of Tuscany, and even one of Italy's most famous cities, Venice, which looks awesome in the game and makes me want to travel there someday even more. Even with this open world structure, when you take a step back and look at all the cities together, AC2 actually has a giant, living, breathing open world. Every town is alive with different kinds of Renaissance-era townfolk, from artists to tailors to blacksmiths, and they even threw in lute players, which would be great for atmosphere if they didn't all try to get in my face every time I walked by, Seriously, look at this. They get right up in your personal bubble. Can you please move, dude? Yeah, your music's great and all, but please get out of my way. Seriously, I'm trying to be nice here. Get out of my face! What? You want money? Here's your tip.
What have I done?
Shame
Have I
on you,
displeased
you
you?
pieces of shit!
Yeah, that's right. Go cry to mommy. Another big part of the open world is scaling rooftops. Under normal circumstances, you'll be doing this to bypass a lot of guards on the ground, or just as a means to get somewhere in a faster and, frankly, more fun way. But in more thrilling situations, you're doing this to either escape from somebody or chase someone down. Those situations call for another defining trait of the series, free running. Free running in AC2 is fun and usually has really good flow to it, but it's also too easy to miss a turn and end up falling since you can't exactly move the camera while you're holding ZR and B to free run. The speed at which you're running can make it difficult to get perfect turns every time. That point aside, climbing and free running are parts that I really like about the game. It makes your open world feel very much like a giant jungle gym that happens to be hosting a Renaissance fair, where you kill people. But as you're silently or publicly killing people, your notoriety will go up kind of like police alerts in GTA or GTA clones. The higher it is, the harder it'll be for you to do a lot of things because guards are more likely to attack you on sight, and civilians will look at you with suspicion or fear. It brilliantly plays into stealth because you can tear down wanted posters or bribe heralds, or kill them, to get yourself back to being anonymous. Sure, most of your missions you can carry on with while being notorious, but I find it easier to do everything while anonymous. It mostly comes down to choice, which is the highlight of this game. Assassin's Creed 2 gives you a lot of choices in how to approach everything in the game. What side quests you want to do in between each story mission, how to kill targets, and ways to move through the cities undetected. This means walking with groups of civvies you come across, or hiring groups of thieves or, let's call them streetwalkers, to walk with you wherever you go for camouflage and to distract guards at your command. My main experience with stealth up to this point was from Splinter Cell games and some horror or FPS games here and there. And through all that, I had never seen stealth tactics quite like this. It's a really cool aspect that helps Assassin's Creed stand out from other stealth games. A third group you can hire are mercenaries, who especially come in handy for tougher fights against larger groups of enemies. The combat itself is very well fleshed out. With all the buttons that are used, you have ways of attacking, blocking, strafing, countering, grabbing, and disarming if you're unarmed. It gives Ezio a very complete fighting style, but there's a little too much emphasis on countering and disarming because of how good a lot of the bad guys are at blocking. That was especially true for these bigger axe-wielding guys. Even when I tried blocking or countering, they hit me. It was only when I put my weapons away and went to my fists that I was able to disarm them, then kill them with one hit. As annoying as that is, though, I have to admit it does lead to a lot of really cool finishing moves.
Stick around.
Money also plays a big part in this game, as one of your goals is to renovate Mario's villa to make it more prosperous. Ezio then earns a cut of the money that the villa sees, but you also earn money just by completing missions, or stealing it if you want to be like that.
They're really inconsiderate.
Whatever method you use to get money, you then use that money to buy things like armor, weapons, medicine, even more cosmetic items like paintings and color changes for your outfit. So the game has that additional RPG type of depth as you're managing your money and when to buy upgrades in particular. To that end, there's a great number of side quests to accompany the main story missions. For bonus cash, you could beat up cheating husbands, carry out contract killings, collect codex pages, clear out Templar lairs, or conquer the challenges of the Assassin Tombs. These tombs reminded me a lot of 3D Zelda games with their challenges and hidden treasures in them, except in this case the tombs have a lot more jumping around. I did find these tombs to be great tests of your speed and puzzle solving skills. Beyond that, they also expand upon the whole assassin lore. Plus the treasure at the end is nice. I'm sorry, how is there always a conveniently placed pile of hay for you to land in from all those tall buildings? It's a game, don't think too much about it. Fair enough. Being that this is part of the Ezio collection, 2 short films are also included, as well as Ezio's next 2 games, Brotherhood and Revelations, so I'll save my full recommendation till after I've reviewed those 2. But so far I could say that I really enjoyed AC2, and I'm looking forward to playing even more AC games on the Switch. Well, that was my review of Assassin's Creed 2 for the Nintendo Switch. Tune in next time for my review of Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. To help me produce more videos like this, please support my Patreon page. Special thanks to my current patrons listed here. Also check out my previous reviews of Splinter Cell Blacklist for the Wii U and Vampire for the Switch. See you all next time.
Away with you, demon.
Have some respect for death, my friend.
I'll show you respect.
No, I will. Che tu possa al fine trovare riposo, nel corpo e nella mente. Requiescat in pace.